Today, we're going to take a look at a case for the Raspberry Pi 4 by Retroflag called the Nespi 4 case. Stay tuned. As a continuation from our video where we set up RetroPie on this Pi 4, as you can see from the video, this Pi 4 was just sitting on the workbench the entire time. Unfortunately, that's just not a practical way to be able to use a system on a normal basis. I've spent hours playing video games on this thing with it basically just sitting on the workbench with no other protection. So when I built my original RetroPie out of this Pi 3, I got a Nespi case because I wanted the Nintendo look for it. So when I built this one, I wanted to do the same thing. So that's why today we're looking at the Nespi 4 case. This is a Nintendo-inspired case based on the same design as the old NES, but for the Raspberry Pi 4. But this one has a lot of great features compared to the older one. So let's get to unboxing this. All right, let's take a look at what this thing comes with. So inside of the box, it looks like we have an instruction manual to help us put it together. And we have the case itself. This is a great case inspired by the NES, and I'm just blown away at how good of a job that they do making these things look like real Nintendos. And on this one here, if you open it up, it actually comes with a cartridge. And inside this cartridge, you're supposed to put an SSD drive so you can actually load all of your ROMs on an SSD. So now, also, we have a USB-C power supply, and this thing should be rated at 3 amps, which it is. It's 5 volt, 3 amps. So inside the case, we have more of the hardware that it comes with. It comes with all the screws that you need to put it together, as well as a screwdriver, and it looks like it has some thermal pads for the heatsink right here. And this heatsink is a great little heatsink, and hopefully we'll be able to get some good overclocks on this thing. We're not going to look at that in this video, but we will look at that once we get everything up and running. And inside the case, you have your Ethernet is actually redirected to the back of the case, which is actually great. The old one had the Ethernet in the front and it was kind of cumbersome. We have a pass-through for your USB 2 for the USB 2 port in the front, as well as a pass-through for the USB 3. So you have a USB 3 port and a USB 2 port in the front. And you have a connection for your GPIO cables for the safe shutdown. Now, one of the downsides to the old case is when you hit the power button to start it up, it would fire up just fine. But when you went to turn it off, it would actually crash the Raspberry Pi, which isn't good for your SD card. With this one here, there's actually a script that you install that will send a shutdown signal to the Raspberry Pi through these pins right here and allow it to shut down properly. And you can actually run it both ways. So you can either turn the safe shutdown on or off based on how you switch this switch right here. So we're obviously going to set that up today, and we're going to actually set the script up so we can get that working also. So now that we've taken a look at what's in the box, let's get to putting this thing together. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is open this case up. And then inside, we're going to move these connectors out of the way. And if you look at the instruction manual here, it tells you where to actually connect the USB ports on here. So what we're going to do is we want to connect this port on the upper port on this side, on the USB 2. And then this one we want to connect on the bottom port, so that's going to leave the top port free on this side. And then plug our Ethernet in here. All right, there we go. So we have everything plugged in now. We should be able to lower this thing into place now. Remove the SD card before you install it. I'm pretty sure the instructions actually say that. All right, now let's install the heatsink here. So there's lots of different size screws here, and they all have a different purpose. These really long screws are what actually hold the case together once we put it together. These medium screws right here are actually to hold the heatsink in, I believe. And then these smaller screws are actually for the cartridge right here. All right, what we're interested in right now is these thermal pads. So we take these and we put one of them on the CPU. And we put the other one on the memory module. Just like that. Now make sure to take the little clear plastic off the top here. All right, so if you look at the bottom of the heatsink, there's actually a recessed part for the memory module right here. So you're going to have to make sure to get this piece right here into where the memory module goes. So you want to make sure to install this correctly. You don't want to install it backwards. So once we lower it in place, it should line up just right. And it fits in there really tight. So now I'm going to start these screws here. All right, it's down on that side. So now I'm going to go ahead and hook up our pins here. So we want to make sure there's an arrow on this thing that's around this very last red wire. We want to make sure that goes to the outside. So we're going to connect it just like that. And then I'm going to fold these wires down so they don't get in the way. And then I'm going to plug in the CPU fan. And everything in here is really tiny, so it's kind of hard to grab a hold of. All right, there we go. And now while we're here, I'm going to switch the safe boot to on because we're actually going to set up that script as well. And that's it from the inside. So that's what it looks like right there. And now when we put the top half of the case together, it will actually hold in the back two screws for the heatsink. So now we're going to do that and we'll get to firing this thing up. So when we lower the top on, we want to make sure to plug in this USB port. This is actually for our USB controller for the cartridge. So we're going to plug this in now. And like everything in this case, it is not easy. All right, there we go. All right, it looks like we got it together. Now I'm going to install all these screws and we will get to firing this thing up. Now that we have the Pi 4 into its new case, let's look at a comparison between the new Nespi 4 case and the old Nespi case, as well as the original Nintendo. They did an amazing job of replicating the look of the original Nintendo. I mean, down to every detail. You can see the power and reset buttons are in the same spot. You have the USB ports in the front for the joysticks are in the same spot as the joystick ports from the original Nintendo. You have the door that opens in the front, and the Nespi 4 case is even better than the Nespi 3 because it actually has a fake cartridge in it. Just like the original Nintendo has cartridges for games, the new Nespi has a cartridge that they put in here that you can put an SSD drive in so you can store your games on an SSD drive. This is an amazing feature. And it's an upgrade from the original Nespi 3 case that actually had an Ethernet jack and 2 USB ports in the front under the flap. Speaking of the Ethernet port, this was a really inconvenient spot to have the Ethernet port. You'd actually have a cable running off the front of your Raspberry Pi when you had it sitting in your entertainment center. So typically this thing just stayed hooked up wirelessly, and I never used the Ethernet port, which actually left for fairly slow transfer speeds. Now on the Nespi 4 case, if you look at the back of it, they've actually relocated the Ethernet jack to the back of the case so that it would free up the front of the case so they could put the cartridge in it. Unfortunately, one of the downsides to this one is that it only has the 2 front USB ports. There's no access to any extra USB ports like the original Nespi 3 case had with its USB ports under the front. It would have been nice if they would have actually stuck a couple extra USB ports in the back. And unfortunately, there's one USB port inside on the Raspberry Pi itself that's not taken up. And I was hoping to be able to use that for a wireless controller, but unfortunately, there's just not enough room in the case to be able to do that. So now, if we look at the bottom of the case, you can see what painstaking detail they went to make this thing look like an original Nintendo. The original Nintendo came with a service port on the bottom of the case, and to replicate that, the Nespi cases actually have a little compartment in the bottom so where you can keep your SD cards. So if you have any spare SD cards, you can store them in the bottom. Even the vents in the bottom of the case are in the exact same positions as they are in the original Nintendo. This is an amazing detail, and they did an amazing job of making this thing look like the original Nintendo, just a smaller version of it. So now that we've taken a look at the cases themselves, let's go ahead and install an SSD drive into our cartridge. I think one of the coolest features in this new case is their fake cartridge for an SSD drive. On this one, I'm going to put in a 250 gig Intel drive. This should be plenty of space for ROMs for a while. So the way that you do that is you just pull the case apart, and then the inside of this case has these little pins right here that fit into the screw holes in the bottom of the SSD. So you slide this into place, you push it down, and then you snap the case together just like this. And now once it's snapped together, there's another 2 screws here that actually secure the SSD in place. So we're going to screw those in. And then there's another 2 smaller screws here that actually hold the case halves together themselves. There's also little plastic clips that hold this together, but it's nice to have some screws in here too. And that's all there is to it. Now we have an SSD inside of our cartridge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move stuff around real quick so I can get this thing set up, and then I'll show you how to provision this SSD so you can actually put your ROMs on it. So the next thing we need to do is get this SSD to accept ROMs. And to do that, we need to install it into the Retropie and hit the power switch. It's going to take a second for this to boot up, and when it does, I'll be back. Alright, now that it's booted up, there's a few things that we need to do. Now, before this step, you should have already formatted the SSD as a FAT32 file system. If you haven't, make sure you do that now. And now, let's get into the Retropie and let me show you what to do. Okay, the first thing you need to do is push the F4 button. This will get you into the console. Then, type cd root media and hit enter. Then from here, you want to type cd usb 0. Now, we need to create a directory here. To do that, type mkdir space retropie dash mount and hit enter. Now, you can hit ls to do a list of the directory, and you can see that our new folder is there. So now what we're going to want to do is we want to reboot the Retropie. To do that, just type reboot. And that's all there is to setting up the SSD. So what's going to happen now is once the RetroPie reboots, it's going to detect that folder that we just created, and it's going to copy everything that you currently have in your ROMs folder over to the SSD. And then from this point forward, when you connect to your RetroPie across the network, you'll actually be connected to the SSD drive. Now, the next step that we need to do is get the safe power button functioning. And to do that, we need to install a script. But this script, every single time I try to install it, it simply doesn't work. And it's trying to copy it from my phone onto the console that messes me up. So I'm going to show you an easy way to do that. So let's go back here. Go over to the RetroPie menu. And then we want to go to Raspi config. From here, you want to go to interfacing options. And then we want to click on SSH. And then yes, we do want to enable SSH. And now we want to go finish. And this should bring us back to the Raspberry Pi menu. Okay, for the next step, we have to move over to the computer, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to SSH into the Raspberry Pi so I can just cut and paste the command we need to run next. Okay, from a Windows 10 desktop, and you can also do this on Linux or Mac. Luckily, the newer versions of Windows 10 actually support SSH right from the command prompt. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up Chrome, and I've already gone to this website, but you can get this URL right here from the instruction booklet that comes with the Retroflag case. So what we're going to want to do is scroll down, and we want to go to the Nespi 4 case right here. And then this right here, since this is for RetroPie, this is the command that we need to run. So as you can see by the length of this command, trying to copy it in the console, it just doesn't work. So what we want to do next is click on the Start menu and type CMD and open up the command prompt. Now from here, we want to type SSH pi at RetroPie. And it's going to ask us for a password. The password is Raspberry. And there we go. Now we are now in the RetroPie. So we're going to go ahead and paste this command that we just got from Chrome. Hit enter. And that's it. It's that simple. As I said, doing that command through an SSH terminal is way easier than trying to type it letter by letter at the console. And the way you know that command worked is your RetroPie should automatically reboot once you hit enter. And once it's rebooted, you can see that the light actually functions now. Now, to test this, what we're going to do is we're just going to hit the power button, and it should shut down. And it is. And that's my take on the Nespi 4 case. I really love this company. They really make some really high quality cases, and they look great. I highly recommend them if you're looking for a case for your RetroPie. So if this video was helpful to you, then please like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of future videos. I post a new video every week. Have a great day.